Welcome to Machining Minds, ACE Driven, the podcast where innovation meets opportunity in American manufacturing. This show dives into the people, programs, and powerful ideas reshaping the future of U.S. machining and advanced manufacturing. Whether you're a student, an educator, an industry pro, or just curious about the next wave of high-tech talent, you're in the right place. Each episode, we'll bring you real stories from the shop floor to the classroom, highlighting cutting-edge training, career pathways, and the inspiring individuals driving change across the country. This is Machining Minds, ACE Driven. Let's cut into it.
All right, so here we are, episode 2 with Machining Minds, ACE Driven. I'm sitting here with 5 different people today, so we decided to kind of mix it up instead of having people that had been around ACE for a long time or been experts in ACE. I'm having a Train the Trainer there at WSU Tech this week, and I'm sitting here with 5 of the trainees. I've got Austin Andrews from Southeast High right here in Wichita. Richard Anderson, he's over at Washburn Tech over in Topeka. Daniel Brooks, Cali County Community College down in Winfield, Kansas. Charlie McDonald over at Ava High School in Ava, Missouri, and Eric Britz at Coffeyville Community College in Southeast Kansas, down in Coffeyville. And I thought it would be cool to have all 5 of these gentlemen on here today because there's 3 of them that have been around machining before and, you know, have been teaching it. They were in the field of machining. And 2 of the guests that we got on here today are strictly educators in a high school setting that want to build their program into machining or want to build a machining program. They're at their high school, so they ended up coming to ACE training. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get on here and kind of talk about how the program's going and how everything is going to fit into their program and what they think so far. So I've got some questions I'm going to throw at all 5 of you. So is everybody ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to start out over here with Daniel. Can you tell us about your teaching background and what brought you to the ACE Train the Trainer program and what you think of it so far?
Yes, thank you. I've been teaching 8 years now at Cali Community College, and I started in different places and led into machine shop. I've been doing the machine shop about 6 years now, and I followed a program that was already built by an older instructor, and we were a little behind, I think, in some of the curves. So trying to build the program up to kind of the new generation that we're in right now. ACE has taught me a lot in the last couple of days, eye-opening kind of experiences that kind of flipped the way I would normally teach a class. And it wasn't for the worst. I think I'm going to go back with a lot of this knowledge and really just change the way I even look at teaching my normal course, because I think there's some value in the way that the delivery method has been going on through ACE. So I'm looking really forward to implementing those changes.
Sounds good. And what I'm hearing is, you know, from the training we're having this week is no different than the training that we've had in the past. Is, you know, there's a lot of teaching strategies in ACE that take you back to the beginning or take you back to the basics of machining. And I mean, I've heard you say it, Daniel. I've heard everybody that teaches machining say in the training, including myself, that, you know, it takes you back to teaching the basics. You know, I mentioned this in the last podcast, but the operator checklist. You know, before you run a program, you're sitting there checking off things on a piece of paper, and before you run that program, and it's eliminating crashes. And I think that's great. I think what you do down at Cali County is great too.
Thank you.
So I'm going to throw a question over to Rich. What was your experience like going through the ACE Train the Trainer program so far? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, to mirror off of Daniel some, it's the way it's taught. You can teach people who are just starting out, don't really know they don't have the experience in machining. You know, I've been a machinist for 26 years, and they can still work through the process, walk through the steps, and it's so digestible. It's bits here, bits here, bits here, and it's built off of fundamentals, and it's just a streamlined, clean program.
So you're telling me that you've been in it for 26 years and you're able to learn through the 3 days that we've had in the ACE program, you've learned something?
Absolutely.
And that's what we like to hear. You know, we want people that are just starting out, whether you're in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, or whether you're a 26-year veteran machinist, to be able to get something from this program. And that means a lot right there.
Like Daniel said, it's a digestible format. It's the information's there, but it's presented in a little bit of a new method from what I've seen before, to where it's more streamlined. And I could take this and I could take 7th or 8th graders and over 4 days have them making parts on a CNC.
You bet, for sure.
Yeah, that's just good for the industry.
And all that does is it builds interest in machining.
Exactly.
And that's what ACE is all about, is building interest in machining or in manufacturing to fill that skills gap. Or there's so many jobs out there right now that are set and empty, or people are working double shifts just because they don't have enough employees. They don't have enough skilled labor out there in the workforce right now, and that's what we're after. So I'm going to throw a question over to Eric. Were there any tools, techniques, or teaching strategies from ACE that stood out to you?
Absolutely. The fact that you have people out on the shop floor that quick doing things is amazing. One of the scariest things for me is seeing somebody who's never touched a machine fixing to cut metal. Like you mentioned, the operator checklist. It gives you confidence that everybody's checked everything they need to check before we start cutting. Like you said, get rid of machine crashes, get rid of somebody getting hurt, and also seen an amazing facility there at Wichita State Tech. It is an amazing place, and thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's great to have people of your caliber of machining. Tell us how long you've been in machining, Eric.
46 years.
46 years. Yeah. I mean, that's...
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm exaggerating there. I graduated high school in 1986, so 40 years.
40 years. That's almost as old as I am, if anybody can imagine. So that's awesome. We got somebody with 26 years. We got somebody with 40 years of experience, and during that train the trainer this week, both of you guys, well, everybody that's been there, but especially both of you guys have been excited about what's going on. It's not like, well, okay, let's move on to the next part. You guys are embracing the ACE way of teaching and the ACE way of learning. So I appreciate you all being here. That's great right there.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Absolutely. As we've been talking, I'm interested in getting some of my faculty to go through an ACE training. Let them know what our program does, what a machinist does, and get them on board with this.
You bet. And, I said this on episode number 1. We actually had the recruiters from WSU Tech go through the ACE training. That way, whenever they're talking to people out in industry, or when they're talking to potential students that are coming through, they know some of the lingo, and they can bring them right in there. They know a little bit of machinist talk, So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And, get your faculty, get your bosses, get everybody at the school to go through it. That's where it's at. So we're going to go from somebody with 40 years of experience over to somebody, Charlie McDonald from Ava, Missouri. All right. He's a high school teacher, never really been around machining at all. So I want to focus in on Charlie for a minute and ask you a question. Did you have any aha moments that reshaped the way you think about this program or about machining throughout the week, or one that sticks out to you?
Well, I'll just tell you, I was intimidated coming in because after doing the course to kind of qualify to get to come to this, I was scared to death because I did not understand. I did not get the G codes, and I was lost as I could be. But I got here Monday morning, and we started, and I was still scared and intimidated. But Monday by lunch, we were cutting and doing things, and guess what? If I can do it, certainly my kids in my class can. And if I can start shaping those kids into doing this stuff at the 7th and 8th and freshman grade level, by the time they graduate high school, I've got a career path for them, and they've got a good start. So I really am appreciative for this program because I can take it back, implement it best that I can, and help my kids in my community. I mean, we've got some businesses over there that they're looking for people like this. And the aha moment is that, you know what, machinists are out there and there is a need and we got to teach it.
Absolutely. That's for sure. And that, you know, I've known Charlie for, 30 some years. And I knew that Charlie was over there at Ava High School teaching students to work on cars, teaching them to weld, teaching them, construction trades. And I called him and I said, hey, I got this training that you need to come to, and we need to try to get a machining program over there at Ava to service people out there in the machine shops. I mean, they've got 2 machine shops right there in Ava that, are always looking for people. If Charlie can get this program built over there at Ava and get machining into that high school, if you can send 5 students a year out into industry, that's 5 more than what they have now, and they're coming right there from Ava. So I think you've got the support of the machine shops over there. You've got the support of your higher ups there at the school. So I think you guys are going to do great things before it's over.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
You bet. You bet. I got a question now. We're going to go to somebody else that don't have a lot of experience at all in machining, and that's Austin Andrews from over at Southeast High School here in Wichita. So, Austin, how has the manufacturing landscape changed since you started teaching, and what do you think that ACE can do over there at Southeast High School for your students or for your faculty?
Well, I think coming from a manufacturing background before I went into teaching, a lot more science and technology is coming into this. I mean, you got to figure with the advancements of AI, robotics, and things like that, a lot of us that are older, we're not going to see that stuff. And so being able to bring that stuff out into the forefront and give kids opportunities to be able to run with that, I think is going to be the biggest thing that we have. I'm always trying to find something to take back to my classroom to have opportunities and different viewpoints. I come from a family of you worked with your hands. That's how you were successful. And so college wasn't for me until it started becoming something that I needed to be able to advance. And so being able to go through this and actually having it day one, put it in your hands and show you how to do it and actually being able to let you run with it, I think is going to be huge.
Yeah, I totally agree. And having Charlie and having Austin in this training was pretty important to me because I know that I can take Daniel and Rich and Eric through this training and they can take it back and they can start tomorrow teaching this program. I know that because I know you guys as machinists, I know you guys know your stuff. Having Charlie and Austin in here, the reason it was so important to me is because, I know that Charlie has the machinist mindset, whether he's a machinist or not. He's got the mindset of, hey, I can fix anything. I can do anything. There's nothing out there that I can't do because if I can't figure it out, I can ask Google. I can watch YouTube or whatever. And when it comes to Austin, I've been to his classroom over at Southeast. I've seen the little plaques that he's got that says Teacher of the Year or whatever, and I'm you're my favorite teacher and all this. And I've talked to his students. It's crazy to see all the stuff that he's done in one little classroom at that high school. I mean, I was over there the other day, and you had some kind of car in your classroom. What was that about? The frame or whatever that you guys built?
So I'm going into my 7th year. We've actually had a number of projects. We've done anything from, we had a Mustang convertible, we had a student's truck, just trying to teach them basics, like how to change your own oil, how to look at things and see if they're bad or need replaced, how to be self-sufficient, anything that I could get my hands on. I started teaching the day high school started in 2019, and I walked into a room that literally had nothing in it. At lunch, I went home and emptied out my toolbox and came back to work with the intent to bring something in there to give them almost an education like what I had. But let's add some more into it. Let's add the newer technologies. Let's add, that it doesn't take a 4-year degree to be successful. There are plenty of jobs out there that you can go and you can get that, frankly, if you took a 6-week or a 6-month course, you might walk out making $30, $40 an hour. You might end up in a job before you graduate that program, and I think we all learn in different ways. Education should not be one-sided. You need this to be successful, because a lot of us don't learn the same way. There was a word that one of you guys used yesterday that really stuck, because I know for me, I'm dyslexic. I have trouble reading something and understanding it to put it forth. But if you show me how to do it, not only do I know how to do it, I know how to fix it, I know how to go around it, I know how to make it faster, and it improves upon me doing what I've been shown. My biggest asset is if you put something in my hands with an idea, I'm going to figure it out. And so being able to bring that into a high school setting and having many, many different kids with different aptitudes is the biggest thing of, hey, let's try this. You don't need the theory on it. This is how it works. Now let's deduce it, take it apart, and go with it. And that's exactly how it's been.
So you just take the engineering aspect out of it and let's try it and let's do it.
Yeah.
And it works. That's right. I like it, Austin. Heck yeah. Thank you for that. I'm going to go over to Eric. Eric, how are you planning to integrate this, what you've learned, into your own classroom and lab? As far as the ACE training, how are you going to bring that back and put that into your own curriculum?
So the biggest problem I face right now, I've got a wonderful facility, nice machine shop, very supportive staff, but recruitment's terrible. We have a high school and middle school is literally across the street from our facility. So I'm going to use this as a training tool to try to recruit some of those students. I don't think I can take them for 4 days at a time, but if we can bring them over maybe a day a week for 4 weeks, just get some interest started in those 7th, 8th, 9th, even up to the senior year in high school. We can have juniors and seniors in our program. Currently, I don't have any. So I'm going to use it more as a recruiting tool. That's what I'm needing the most out of this.
Exactly. You get those students in there, kind of like Charlie was saying, you get them in there in 7th, 8th, even freshmen or whatever, to run this ACE program, and they're going to see right off the bat, hey, we're out here in the shop. We made an air engine that actually runs. We done this with our own hands. They're gonna come towards machining.
Right.
They're going to tell their friends, hey, I made this in ACE class. I made this in this ACE training that I went to. And their friends are going to be like, how long did that take? Well, it took us a week. And we were on the machines in the first hour of being there at the school. That right there, you're right. That's going to be a heck of a recruitment for Coffeyville, Kansas, I think.
So, as I mentioned, I graduated school in '86 from Labette County High School, which also has a machining program. I'm going to share it with them. They've got an instructor similar to Charlie and Austin without the machining experience, but teaching experience. So that'll be a good tool to share with him. And, in 1986, everybody was looking for a machinist. Couldn't find them anywhere. here we are in 2025, and every shop out there is still looking for machinists.
Yeah.
Part of the problem with that is nobody knows what we do. That's one of the things I ask students at career fairs and such is, do you know what a machinist does? And they don't have a clue. And as we discussed, everything in your life has something to do with a machinist, from your toothbrush to your car to your cell phone. We've had a hand in all of that. So this is a great way to show them what we do.
That's right. And you know, I bring this up all the time. I said it on the last podcast. I'm probably going to say it on the next one and the next one. I was in my mid to upper 30s or 20s before I even knew anything about machining. Never even I'd heard of it, but I had no clue what they did. So yeah, you're exactly right. You know, let's get it out there while they're in junior high school, so they're not in their mid to upper 20s when they figure out what machining is. So yeah, good answer. I'm gonna jump over to Rich. Rich, what challenges do you face when trying to teach advanced manufacturing in high school or community college setting?
Well, the first is feeding off of that, recruiting students, because like you said, no one knows what a machinist does. Everybody knows what a welder does. Everybody knows what a carpenter does, but knowing what a machinist does. So we have a pretty good recruiting department. I get pretty good numbers, but then it's the fear of the students. They're doing something they've never done before. And I think where ASA helped with that is we have a layout. They're going to be doing programs that we made. They're not the ones actually programming anything. They're learning how to program it while they're making the part. So there's a little bit of a fail-safe there. And then you have the checklist. If you follow the checklist, you can't make a mistake as if we didn't make a mistake on the programming. It's 100% safe. So it's going to overcome that fear and that lack of confidence. It's terrifying the first time you walk up to a $100,000 machine and press the big green go button and you see that tool changer move it. And that thing starts rapping down. It's scary, and this is going to help overcome that. So I see the struggles we have, but I also see how the ACE program can help alleviate that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what, just like Charlie was talking earlier. He said it, man. He was scared to death about coming into this program and not knowing what was going on. Pulling up to the machine and pressing the cycle start button. I said, man, it's all programmed out there for us. I said, there's nothing to worry about. I've got a operator checklist. We're gonna do it safe. This is the same program that we're teaching the 7th, 8th, 9th graders is what you guys are going through this week. So yeah. You have a safe environment to run these machines, and you know nothing's going to crash. You know you're not going to tear a bunch of stuff up. You're still going to have crashes in a machine shop, whether you do everything, by the book or not. Somebody's going to set something different, or somebody's going to not clamp their part in right, or not put their part on the parallels. But hey, that's what you get when you're working with people that are young in machining and don't know what they're doing. Hey, it happens,
I'd love to add to that, because that's kind of where that aspect of the training was kind of what was eye-opening to me, because I've been like, no, we got to do safety. We've got to do programming. We've got to do operational procedures, and then we'll start running the machine. And what I've learned now is I was wrong. Because there hasn't been a minute in this training where I haven't felt comfortable and felt like anybody could be comfortable in this program because of the layout, where when we went straight to a CNC machine and the pressure was relieved, the stress was almost gone. And I'm not even saying that just because, I operate a machine just like that, but the atmosphere in the room, I didn't even notice that you were tense, you were scared, or anybody else for that matter. And the results spoke for themselves. We all had the exact same part. And now we had that hook, even if we didn't come from this industry. And then I'm looking around and I'm thinking about my students and brand new, and I'm thinking this is the hook. And then we went into the classroom and we started reeling it in where we're now, why did that machine move that way? Well, let's program it. This is the part. And so it flipped the whole thing on around for me. And that's what I've enjoyed. And that was within the first day. So I absolutely loved it. You had me hooked in this new way of thinking that I want to go and just change the way I start teaching my classes day one, because I've seen so much fear in eyes. And now I'm thinking that I put it there because I thought I wanted them to be afraid of the machine because of what it does, but I need them to be excited about the machine for what it does, and then the life that machine is going to give them in the future as far as income and sustainability. So it's just been really eye-opening, and working with these gentlemen around the room it's been incredible. So, well,
that's the same thing that I thought when I went to this program, to the ACE program down in Knoxville, Tennessee. I thought, man, why am I even going to this? I didn't know anything about it. Nobody really told me anything about it. My vice president, he sent me an email and he said, hey, you need to sign up for this and go down there and see what it's all about. And, when he tells you to do something, you go do it. And you don't care that it's spring break and the crappie are biting and that's a good time for you to go sack up a freezer full of fish. I went to ACE training and, I got down there and I'd been in the teaching environment, teaching on Haas machines for 8 years at that time. And when I walked in down there, I was nervous thinking, man, what are they going to teach us? What's the deal? I had no clue because all I had done was the online portion, and half of the online portion, I'm like, oh my gosh, some of this is over my head. What are we going to get into? So I get down there and I get to figuring out, just like you're talking, the program teaches itself. Everything was so easy going. You made this part, you flipped it over, you ran side B of the first part. You went in, you programmed that part, so you got to learn how to do some programming after you machined it. So you got to see everything that you had just done on the machine. You got to actually program that. And I'm not a programmer, guys. I'm simply a machinist. I've never been a programmer. I felt pretty good about when I got that part programmed and I hit simulate and everything looked just like it did when I machined it out there. So you're right, Daniel. I mean, the part of, trying to get these students, about halfway scared of these machines, that way they don't tear them up. I never really thought of it that way, but you're correct. I mean, that's what we've done as instructors for the last decade, is get these students scared so they don't tear our stuff up. Well, you hit the nail on the head right there. Let's get them excited about machining right off the bat. And now we got somebody that's excited about machining, not somebody that's over there, wishing that they'd have took welding, because, they're not going to try to scare you to death in welding. So, yeah, you're exactly right. I love that answer, man. I appreciate it. Let's go over to Rich again. What's one thing you learned in the ACE program that you wish you had known earlier in your teaching career?
The exposure to Fusion 360. I'm also not a programmer. I'm a machinist. I'm an operator. I can do anything on a manual machine, but I've always kind of shied away from the programming aspect of it. And the way that ACE breaks down the programming, where you start off with basically step by step, and then by the third part, it's going, hey, that thing you did yesterday, yeah, do it again. And it just makes it so easy to comprehend, and you just work through the process. And I feel like I've gained 6 months of experience in Fusion 360 in 3 days.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's the way I was whenever I went through the Fusion part of it. It tells you step by step. Click here, click here, click here. To me, I learn by doing something. If I'm watching a video of somebody, drawing a part or loading a part or a model into a Fusion 360 or whatever, and then I have to go do it, I'm not going to learn from it. But whenever I can do it step by step by step, and then The next day, I do it step by step by step. By that third part, you've done it 3 different times, and it's shown you how to do it. Now you're just flying around in there. Even if you're not, a great programmer or whatever, that's one of the things that I love about it.
Monday, I didn't have a clue. I think Charlie and I probably felt the same way. I'd never done anything like this. I couldn't even get into it beforehand to actually look through it. Each day I keep picking stuff up and I'm like, oh, I remember doing that yesterday. I remember doing that. Some of it's still kind of, I'm not sure, but I'm not afraid of it. Like, I'm not like, I'll never figure this out. It's not, I think it's designed better than leaving some of those kids in the dark that are like, I'm never going to understand this. I'm never going to get this. This doesn't make sense. And I'm not a computer code writing type of person. It's just not in me. But this makes it fairly easy.
Yeah. Well, cool. I love hearing all the positive feedback. And I told these guys when we got in here, I said, guys, I'm not in here, just trying to build up ACE. ACE builds itself up. If you guys have negative things, I want to hear it too. And I didn't hear any negative. And like I said, if you guys have any negative, I want to hear it. ACE wants to hear it. But, I appreciate that for sure. I'm going to ask Charlie real quick, what advice would you give another teacher thinking about getting involved with ACE?
If you have the opportunity, embrace it. You need to go all in with it and do whatever Justin tells you, because it's going to benefit your kids. Your kids need it. They deserve it. You owe it to them to figure out and face your fears and come to this program. It works. I'm excited about it. My kids can use it, get jobs with it, get careers with it. As a teacher, that's what we're supposed to do. Help our kids out. And I really feel like that's the best thing I can do for my community is to give them a good basis. And there'll be kids that it works great with. And there'll be kids run from it. But guess what? That's how we find out what we're good at and what we're not. And
that's
knowing
right.
that is important.
That's exactly right. Go ahead, Austin.
A good part to tag off of him is what can you adapt the ACE training platform into besides the machining part? How many kids can you reach with using some of the tactics from this on other stuff?
Here's the best thing I've got going for me is I'm going to embed it in about every one of my classes without them really knowing a whole lot about it. We're going to study this in pretty much all my classes, and I'm going to embed it in there. And by the time they get out of high school, I can only imagine what the kids will be able to do, because that they're going to be better than me. And they'll be teaching me by the time that kid graduates. Well, when they can go get a job with that and somebody calls and say, hey, are they really telling the truth? Yeah. And who knows what's going to happen by then. I mean, this is exciting.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And so I'm going to throw this out there to just any of you. My job there at WSU Tech is the ACE program trading coordinator. So what I do is 100% ACE. I go out and I always say I sell ACE, but ACE, there's no sales to it because it's a free program. So I don't have to sell it. But I go out and I talk to people about ACE and about coming to the ACE program and what it's done for WSU Tech and what it's going to do for the workforce. So throwing this out there to anybody, what was it that got you to come to the program? Was it because it was free? Was it because I was convincing about how great it was? Or was it just something you guys wanted to try out?
You were so convincing when you come to visit CCC, I didn't think I had a choice. No, actually, I know I need help with my teaching. I have the machining skills. I've never had any instruction on how to be a teacher. So I knew this would help me with that. And I want to back up to what you said about it being a free program. It's better than a free program. It pays for itself. It's even better than that. You're not charging the schools. So instructors in a situation where their budgets are pretty limited, this doesn't cost them a dime. You pay for the material, you pay for the tooling, you pay for everything. It's pretty incredible. There's not much else in the world like that.
That's exactly right. And that's something that we're fortunate to have, is we're funded by the Department of Defense. So whenever I have a training, people come to the training, like you said, it don't cost them nothing. If I set somebody up as a spoke off of WSU Tech's hub, we give you money to buy your materials. We give you money to buy your tooling, to have these trainings. And that's all because of the Department of Defense. I think the ACE program totally is going to blow up. And I don't know if it's going to be because of things like H-Tech, or we're presenting, me and David Robertson is presenting on ACE there at H-Tech. I think that's going to bring a lot of people in. I think word of mouth is going to bring in more people than anything. And that's why I wanted to start this podcast, was because there are so many people out here that have no clue what ACE is or what it does. I was so excited that my next episode, episode 2 was going to be Texas A&M, because I get along great with those guys. They're buddies of mine. And Monday morning I woke up and I got ready to come to the training, and I thought, you know what? I want to have an episode with trainees, that are at the ACE training, the ACE Train the Trainer. Let you guys tell the story of ACE. That way it's even that much more believable of how great it is. So, guys, I want to thank everybody for being on here. I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast. And if you guys will click subscribe and hit that like button every time you hear it, every time I put one out, put up another episode, you guys will get it and be able to listen to it. So anything anybody needs, anything that any questions about ACE, my number, my email address is right there on the face of the podcast. So give me a call, give me an email, and appreciate you guys being on here.